Hey there, Gasm here, showing you how to assemble the Vipers that I made. Alright, so I'm going to start with nose cone. This part's easiest. You get the part that says nose tip, nose base, and bottom nose base and top nose base. So you're gonna grab handful of these tiny nuts and bolts, and you start by taking this bad boy, putting it like so, with the narrow end towards the narrower end of this part. So you want to put two nuts and bolts at the bottom and make sure they all face inwards so you don't have a bunch of little bolt ends sticking out where everybody can see them. So just put them at the bottom like this. And you probably only need to hand tighten most of the small nuts and bolts. I'll tell you which ones need to be tightened with a screwdriver. Alright, so then you put this on top. Make sure it's on the outside, going around the outside of this. You put one bolt right through here, right up at the top. Add its corresponding nut. Flip it over. Now you have 3 holes to get each one of these through. So you start with this one right here, then you get it through this part, and then you get it through this part. There we go. You add the nut. And do the same to the other side. Here. Here. And like that. Alright, put another nut on the end of that one. Then you get this one black piece, and usually I bring it up from the bottom here, and you want to, it'll take a couple tries sometimes, but you try to align the bottom piece of Velcro, you attach that, and then the top piece, and you just press it on together. You're going to have to wiggle it a bit to get it into the right spot. Oh yeah, that looks good. So you've got the nose cone set. Now put that aside. And let's work on the wings. So for each wing there will be 3 big plastic pieces, 1 plastic rod, and these elbows, I guess, as well as a hinge for each wing and some corresponding bolts. I'll show you which one goes to which. So you start off with the right wing bottom or left wing, doesn't matter which, but you start off with the bottom piece, and I put all the labels on the insides of the wing pieces so you won't have to see the labels when it's all put together, and that'll also indicate what side goes to what. So what you're going to do is take you take this piece, you put it I guess, the face up. So you'll put the label down on the floor, and you'll take 2 medium-sized bolts. There's going to be 3 sizes of bolts, and that's in a picture in the description that I'll put up. And you put the 2 medium-sized bolts through these holes right here. Some of them will just screw right through, and some of them you just push right through. Just don't force it. If it slides through, good. If not, just screw it in. And then you take 2 small bolts and you put them in these holes right here. Good. So now you lay that flat. You take the hinge and you slide all on right there. Now you take 2 of these corresponding nuts and you put it on the small bolts right there. Then you take your elbow, make sure you can see the writing. That should be facing you, facing up. And you place it down. It might take a little wiggling. Place them down right on these medium-sized nuts. Once those are through, you take the nuts and screw them on. Cool. Alright, so that's good for now. We flip this over and we take the top piece, put it on like this. Now, you're going to want to take another handful of these tiny bolts and you put 2 through here. Put on their nuts. And put another one through here, right at this weird little tippy part. And one more right through there. Okay, so then you take the wing tip, grab 3 bolts, 3 tiny bolts, and you put the wing tip right in the middle. You sandwich it right in the middle, and then align it with its respective holes. It'll be pretty obvious, especially with the red stripe. Yeah. Now, some people's Vipers are a little bit different than each other's, so if I ever tell you to put a bolt through a certain hole and that hole does not exist for you, don't worry about it, just move on. There shouldn't be too many differences, but there are a few small ones. Alright, now you take 2 of these skinny but long bolts, and you can take 2 nuts from the thing that they share the same kind of nuts, and you put them right there. Then you take the long pole and right here at the bottom with this painter's tape there should be a little line right there as well as a line right here. So I want you to line those up and push the the painter's tape right up against the elbow. Shouldn't have to go much further than that. Then you take these long bolts, you put it through these holes, and then right through these holes. Pop a nut right on that one, and do the same right up here. And you got your first wing. All right, let's do wing number 2. Same as before. You start with the bottom, you put the label down, you take 2 small bolts, 2 medium bolts, and their corresponding nuts. There's only two sizes of nuts, so you don't have to worry about making sure the nuts go to the right ones. It's pretty obvious. Alright. Put these medium bolts through here. And the small bolts.